Well, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel for another this is going to be a how-to video. Today we're actually going to be working on a 2008 Toyota Corolla. This car has a leaky valve cover gasket. Now, it's not a bad leak, and it actually has been leaking for quite some time, but it's a simple job to do, and it really don't take that very long to do. So I'm gonna give you a quick tutorial on how to do that, if you have that same issue going on. And we're also going to be putting some spark plugs in. I have not put plugs in this thing probably for maybe 70,000, maybe it could be closer to 100,000 miles. I really don't remember, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some new plugs in just because gonna have everything apart anyways, and it'd be a good time to put those in there. And just a regular old Felpro valve cover gasket. So let's get to it. Alright, well, first things first is got to remove this plastic cover here. Now, you don't really need a tutorial on how to remove this plastic cover. You don't even need to see me do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it. It's very simple. First things first, you have two 10mm bolts right here. So you pull those out. And then you've got these little plastic, they're little plastic. They're kind of like fender or like body panel. Those things, whatever you want to call them things. That's all they are. And you just pull that out, and of course, I'm missing this one. So that's literally all it is, and you pull that right off. So once you have your cover off, pretty much the next thing you want to do is you want to take all four of your coil packs out. Now to do that, you just simply unplug each one of them. I mean, they unplug real easy. And then you got a 10mm bolt holding each one of them in there, and pull them out. And what I normally do is I like to put them back in the order that they, on the cylinder that they were in. So I will actually set them up here, in order. That way they're, they go in the same cylinder they came out of. And then the next thing is the PCV hose right here has to come off. It has to come off of right here. And then you've got a 10mm bolt right, you can't really see it, but there's a 10mm bolt holding this little thing on that holds this batch of wires right here. So you want to take that off, and it'll kind of move to the side a little bit. And then after that, it is just as simple as all the 10mm bolts. Now this is one of them that you'll have to take off. This holds the wiring harness as well. Then you got the little 10mm bolts all the way around. There's a couple back here, one right there. So you just simply take all them 10mm bolts out and pull the valve cover off. Alright, so once you get everything off, like I said, I like to line up my coils in order per cylinder so I can put them back in order. And you can see that one just a little bit. The seal for that spark plug tube is leaking just a little bit, which, for 209,000 miles, that's not a lot of leaking, at least on that part. So that's not too bad. Now, the one thing that I did find that I have not seen in any other videos, there is a little tiny bracket right here. I do believe it is attached to the wiring harness here. It's just another bracket, as you can see, that kind of holds that on there. You kind of have to get a screwdriver underneath there and pry that thing up like that. And then once you get all that and get all the bolts and everything out, and you're ready to pull the valve cover off. Alright. Well, it definitely is, I don't know how well you can see it, but whew. You would think I've never changed the oil on this thing the way it looks, but I'm actually running full synthetic. Whew. Now you just give it a good looking and see how things are. I mean, it actually don't look too bad. Inside the valve cover, actually, my opinion, kind of looks worse, but at least the timing chain is nice and tight, and there's no issues with that. But you can see right back there, kind of like right here, out of the corners, and it's also leaking out of that corner up there. So it'll be good to finally get this thing replaced. Now the next thing that you want to do is you want to clean all the surfaces. You want to clean everywhere where the gasket goes. As you can see, I've already wiped that down, and you want it completely dry. No oil, no grease, dirt, nothing. As you can see, it's all nice and clean. And another thing, once you have this off, because these cars do that, is you want to check your timing chain. Now, that right there is normal, and that is actually perfect right there. Sometimes you'll have them where they're slapping way up and down. You'll hear the rattle when the car's running, especially when you start it up. So you definitely want to check those. And if that's bad, there's actually a timing chain tensioner that bolts on right back here. It's relatively cheap. You can buy it from just about any parts store and put that on. But so now that we got that clean, let's go ahead and throw the plugs in. There you go. Old versus the new. Exact same plugs, of course. They are NGK. These are the BKR5EIX11. Part number for most part stores is going to be 5464. Now the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to clean the valve cover everywhere where the gasket sits. If you look down in there, you can kind of see, but yeah, it's yeah, it's got a lot of oil in it, you know, from over the years. And it's kind of funny because right in, let's see, right in this section and this section is actually where it seemed to be leaking the most, and actually you can see right there as well. And it's kind of funny because there was actually RTV right here on the head, and the same spot over here on the head. And I know I didn't put that there because I am the original owner of this car. I actually bought this car brand new myself, right off the lot. It had 7 miles on it when I bought it. And you know, I never done the valve cover gasket, so maybe they had an issue from the factory or something. But let's get the cleaning and we'll get the new gasket on. Well, I certainly hope you can see me well enough with this camera. This thing is not good in low light. I had to switch cameras because, like a goofball, I brought my camera and forgot to bring the other battery, and the battery I had in there was not charged. So but anyways, so got everything cleaned up, all the track, all the, you know, where the gaskets go and everything. And one thing that I like to do is, if you can see, I like to put a tiny little bead of gray RTV in there where it sits. And what that's going to do is, for one, it's basically going to glue it in there so it's not going to fall off on you when you're trying to put that, you know, back on there. And two, it's going to offer, you know, double the protection, you know, against oil leaks and things like that. And what I'll actually do is, you know, I'll actually just rub a little thin layer on top of the spark plug tube gaskets, or yeah, seals, and then once I put it on here, I'm actually going to rub just a tiny little line of it around there. And the same thing with the spark plug tube seals or whatever. So, you know, there'll actually be a little thin layer on that, you know, and on the head. So that way it'll, you know, it's going to seal up for sure, and I'm not going to have to tear this apart, you know, a month or two down the road because it's leaking again. Because this way it'll ensure it's not going to leak. And I know some people don't like to use RTV on valve covers, you know, but the majority of people do because they know the benefits of it. And yeah, so, you know, it can be messy, it's time consuming, but you know what, it works. So that's what we're doing. So as I said, a nice little thin layer of RTV on the gasket. And just to show you just how simple it is, I mean, you can just simply put, you know, a few little drips of it here, and this is all you do. You just kind of rub it around there, smoothing it out real good, and it creates literally the perfect layer of RTV. And of course, that's the exact same way I did it around the whole valve cover. And there you have it. I mean, you know, it's definitely not going to leak, and it's not really too messy of a job. Like I said, you know, when you put some down in before you put the gasket in there, it's a very, very, very thin line of a very, very thin bead of RTV, and that's all you need. Valve cover is ready to go back on. And your valve cover gasket set also comes with these little gaskets. They are actually for those center bolts, so you can put them back on. That way you have new seals on those. Put your coil packs back in. You know, make sure they clip down on your plugs real good. You know, hook up everything that you unplugged. Oh goodness, get that on there, and should be good to roll. Well, there you have it. Put your cover back on. I did a little bit of cleaning on it because it was, well, you've seen it, it was pretty dirty. And of course, you know, I wiped down the intake a little bit. Not really a lot, but a little bit. It helps. So, another thing I'd like to point out, if you can even see this, I bought this grill from off of eBay, 2012 actually. I have painted this thing probably 5 times, and you know, the paint just goes bad on it all the time. I mean, it's just old cheap plastic and everything. Well, yesterday I decided I'll hit it with another couple coats of flat black like normal, and then I hit it with that Duplicolor bed armor paint. A little bit of dirt on it because it rained yesterday too, and I'm not sure if you can see the texture of that, but that really turned out nice, and it's even, you know, it textured up the grill there pretty good too. So you might be able to see it right there. I think it actually turned out pretty good, just in case anybody would want to do something like that. But that's going to wrap up for this video. I hope this helped. I know I didn't mention the torque specs on the valve cover bolts because they actually do have a spec. So I will put that information in the description below, and so we'll see you guys in the next project.